You ready? You're good? Okay. For some of you, you may not know me. My name is Kirsten Heimerman. I'm a first-year missionary with Focus, and yeah, it's about a little about me. I'm from Kansas. I graduated from the University of Kansas, and I'm living it here in South Dakota for now. So I just wanted to welcome to Women's Night, and introduce myself. And tonight is all about us as women and how we are to be in the world and not of the world, women of the world and not of the world. So we'll get, I'll be giving a little spiel about how to be the woman God designed us to be, and later on we will have a talk about modesty from a guy's perspective. So we'll be having a guest speaker later on. So let's start off. We need to be great women, right? We don't need to be like good girls, but we need to be great. And the church depends on us. The church needs great women. And because we play a huge role in the church. I mean, you look to Eve and the story of Eve and how we were created. And I just really encourage you guys, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I encourage you to reflect and, what's the word I'm looking for? Reflect and, anyways, look at the story of our creation. Yes, maybe. Meditate. Yes, thank you. Meditate. Yes, meditate on our creation in Genesis and what God created us to be. And then also to look at Mary as a fulfillment of Eve. True is our one example of what we are to be and the huge role that she was given. Okay, so my talk's a little different. You hear all the time about how boys are to be men, what it takes to be a great man. You don't really hear about what it takes to be a great woman, necessarily in the same sense. So that's what I'm here to do, hopefully, to help you out, maybe to make things a little more clear for us women and not be so confused, with what the world tells us, with what the church tells us, with what we tell ourselves. So hopefully I can give you a little more guidance on that. So this is a little more about what a girl does versus how a woman acts, what it takes to be a woman. So I got some of this. If any of you know Sarah Swafford, she's super amazing. She is from Kansas, and she gives an emotional chastity talk, and we won't talk about that today. It's a whole other subject. But I got some of what I'm going to say here today from her. And so, what is most attractive about a woman? What does a woman do versus a girl? So I'm going to break this up into different qualities. There's three main characteristics of a woman. They're feminine, confident, and virtuous. If you talk to any of my guy friends or any guy in general, they're going to tell you some form of those three things. I want them to be a good girl that knows who she is and knows when to be a girl, kind of. And if you were to ask your good guy friends that are rooted in Christ, they're going to say, I want a holy and confident woman. That's what they want. So we'll start off with feminine. A girl is self-conscious according to what the world says about her and who she should be. So she's constantly thinking about, oh, well, this person does this. Should I be doing the same thing, or should I be dressing the same way, So they're continually self-conscious, and they don't have they don't have a lot of confidence. A woman has self-confidence. They have self-confidence, more importantly, in Christ. And that's where they find their self-confidence in, their independence in. It comes from Christ. They are self-possessed, seen in how Christ views us, or how Christ sees you, and not according to what this secular world says about you, and like why you aren't the ideal woman. So a woman is self-possessed and knows who she is, and in that we can then give ourselves to others in service and in our charity. A girl gossips and spreads rumors. She is quick to judge and doesn't really think about herself or others for that matter. She's concerned mainly with who she is, her self-absorbance. Women understands that drama is a huge turnoff. They understand that being part of that gossip and spreading rumors is not helping you or the other person or anybody else, for that matter, involved in the rumor. To be feminine, women embrace their femininity, but they do not objectify it. So they do that through modesty. So, like, if I were to stand here and give this talk, about being feminine and being a woman, what that means, and how I talk about how modesty, you're supposed to clothe modestly, tight enough to know how does it go? I think it's on the sheet. Her clothes are tight enough to know that she's a woman, but loose enough to know that she's a lady. And our guest speaker will be talking about that a little more. But if I were to say all these things and then do the opposite, and I'm wearing really tight, workout clothes everywhere, that's like I'm objectifying myself by saying, I'm one thing, but actually I just put on myself that I'm just, butt or boobs or, I'm just a piece of meat, So a woman embraces her femininity but does not objectify it, and that's done more importantly through how one dresses and even acts around people. And again, that'll be mentioned later on. Some other qualities of being feminine. Women are graceful and sincere. They are joyful and have fun, know how to have fun. They're nurturing and friendly. And those are just like a few of the qualities that I kind of gathered from different research of mine. And before I go on, later on after the talk, I will give you this list that I got from Sarah Swaffer's website, emotionalvirtue.com. I'm going to give you all a copy, and it does the same, like it puts it in feminine, confident, and virtuous, and kind of lists like what that means, how to be feminine, to be confident. And I'll pass those out later on, and I'll explain it a little more. All right, so moving on to confidence. Girls depend on the affirmations of the world. So often we complain about who we are, what's wrong with us. I know I'm guilty. I'm very guilty of this. Instead of seeing these strengths and weaknesses, like who we are rooted in Christ. That's what a girl does. A girl depends on the affirmations of the world. There was an example that I got from Father, and he was talking about how the world is kind of like we're in the Sahara Desert. Like in the Sahara Desert, you have no water, and as soon as the first dirty, grimy water comes, you take it. That's what the world says to you, because you're not good enough for anything else. But those of us that have relationships with Christ and have good relationships with women, know that there is something better out there, and you wait for that clean, pure water to come along. The world will tell you to take whatever you can get. and a girl would do that. But a woman finds strength in her weaknesses. She knows and accepts her strengths and weaknesses. And in that, she comes to know these because she depends on Christ. It all falls back on dependence on Christ. And the more we depend on him, the more independent we are. It is in our weaknesses that we find strength. This is something that I really came to love and know. With my Bible study, we read The Privilege of Being a Woman by Alice von Hildebrand. And I suggest every one of you read it. And give it to your boyfriends or your guy friends or whatever. They should read it too so they can understand you and women in general. But there was a quote that came from that really just struck me. And here it is. Women are more geared to piety because they have a keener awareness of their weakness. This is their true strength. I'll repeat it. Women are more geared to piety because they have a keener awareness of their weakness. This is their true strength. So basically what this is saying, what I said before, it is in our weaknesses that we find strength. Because we acknowledge our weaknesses, we go and look towards Jesus, and he gives us that strength. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Spell it out for you. Girls, make up white lies about yourself and talk about how great she is, and just make herself be this person she's not. A woman is honest and prudent in what she shares about herself. They don't act like someone they're not. They don't. They know their identity. They don't act somebody else, especially. They don't act like somebody else, especially like in front of a guy or for a guy. They stay true to themselves. Father actually told me a story about this couple in marriage prep, and she was talking about how they came to marriage prep and everything just changed. The world told her how to be, or what to tell, top 10 things not to tell your husband or boyfriend, or top 5 things to tell your boyfriend or whatever. And she read in all these magazines, like Cosmo Girl or all those types of magazines that we really don't need to be reading. Because magazines is what put in her mind what she needed to tell her husband or her fiance, She was telling Father that she didn't know. She came to marriage prep and they told her to pretty much discard everything she had learned from those magazines and from what the world was telling her to do. She's like, I didn't realize, I should be talking and communicating these things with my husband, especially NFP stuff or just other things that she felt like she didn't need to communicate. But things